Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the offices of Greenlights for Nonprofit Success here in North Austin on this 14th day of May. We are here to honor our April legend, Miss Libby Malone. We have a number of things that we need to do. First off, I'd like to introduce some very important people. You'll see two gentlemen in blue shirts, Steve Barkley and George Wagner. They are past legends, so they've been through these before. We have Amy Sylvie and Evelyn Gallant, who are responsible for making this day necessary with the nomination that they put in. We have Mr. Matt Corey, who is the CEO of Greenlights. We have Ms. Toya Haley, who is an attorney here in Austin, a volunteer in many different organizations, and also a philanthropist here in Austin. And of course, Ms. Libby Malone. What I'll do is I'll mention a few things about Recognize Good, and we'll hear from Matt as he gives us some background on Libby. We'll have the presentations with Toya, and then we'll have some comments from Libby. I told her before she has a chance for rebuttal at the very end. Recognize Good is an internet capability that allows folks to say thank you to a number of different individuals worldwide. You can say thanks to your family, to your friends, and to your acquaintances. And back in 2007, the Tyrex Group and ABC Home and Commercial Services and the Samaritan Counseling Center were working together, and in 2008 and 2009 came up with the idea of saying thanks on the web. And it's with these three organizations that everything really evolved. And we kicked off Recognize Good in 2009, and we noticed that some of the nominations and thank yous coming in were head and shoulders above the others. And so in 2010, March of 2010, we had what we called our Legends of Recognize Good program, and our very first legend was Kay Gooch, a librarian at Galay Elementary School working with Bookspring. And since then, we've had 37 presentations honoring 48 different individuals. So, what does that mean to us? What does that mean to be a legend? Well, a legend is someone who has done something extraordinary, either a one-time big event or a number of events over a number of different years, or a number of events at a given time. And we pick these people, not as a committee from Recognize Good, but we ask our legends like George and Steve to look at those nominations. And so, Libby, you were selected today by past legends, and I think that's very remarkable. So, we have our Legends ceremony today, and I want to emphasize that today is not simply a single-day event. Becoming a legend means an awful lot to us and to the organizations that you're going to be working with. We will have our Say Thanks Austin campaign starting in January of 2015, and the Say Thanks Austin closing ceremony will be February 20th of 2015 at City Hall. And in that Say Thanks Austin event, we will put out to the world the capability for people around the world to say thanks to you, or you plus other legends, and whoever receives the most thank yous will get a $10,000 pay it forward check that you can send to the organization that you choose, and I'm thinking that would be Greenlights again. So it's going to be important that we stay in contact and that we develop our professional and personal networks so we can get the most thank yous possible. Now, we talked about Recognize Good and what it is, and what I'd like to do is turn the focus now to the really important part of this. I'll ask Matt Corey, who's the CEO of Greenlights, to come up and give us some background on Libby.
Well, thanks for being here and welcome to Greenlights. I have to start by saying that the only reason that we are here, we Greenlights and all of us in the room, is because of Libby Malone. And I'll give you a little bit of history there, but first let me just say Greenlights was a twinkle in her eye many, many years ago, and she was able to rally, 13 years ago, maybe 14, to rally some of our community's top leaders, philanthropists, business leaders, volunteers, nonprofit sector leaders, to say we need in our community a place where those organizations that are inclined to do good, and the volunteers and the board members and the philanthropists that surround them can go for resources, for expert consulting, and for help to make their missions possible. And that became Greenlights, and that's where we are here today. We're a nonprofit organization that serves thousands of individuals and organizations in this community with leading practices in management and governance and social innovation, so that we can all continue to make this community, greater Austin area, what it is and what we know it can be. I joined, I guess, about 8 years ago, and I still remember the Starbucks coffee shop meeting that I had with Libby shortly after coming on board, and we had talked as part of the interview process, but I literally was sort of shaking in the car, sweating, remembering that I had to go in and talk to Libby and sort of face the reason why I was there and why the organization was there, and it was such a pleasant experience and a blessing, and it has been ever since. We've maintained our relationship with Libby over the last 8 years that I've been here, and so Greenlights does a number of things. One of those things is that we recognize sort of good and greatness in our community every year through our Party for Good and through what we call our Nonprofit Excellence Awards. And last year we decided to, and those awards go to the Executive Director of the Year and the Nonprofits of the Year, and so what we decided to do is to create a new award category for Austin's Community Leader of the Year. This was an individual who was likely someone who was on boards of directors, led boards of directors, had done fundraising, and had been a true community champion and leader. And as our deliberation committee and our board thought about this award, it was important to us to decide who we awarded it to first, because we thought that person might set the standard. And not only was there such an overwhelming desire to award it to Libby Malone, our committee decided that they actually wanted to name the award after her and award it to her as the first recipient, and forever for it to be the Libby Malone Community Leader of the Year Award. And so that's what we did, and she very graciously, as she always does, accepted, and so forever her name and her legacy will live through our organization and now through Recognized Good as a legend. So thank you for letting us do that. We are not the only organization in town that exists because of Libby Malone. There are many, many others, and I suspect Toya will tell you about those that she's had the privilege of being involved in, but I can't say enough about you and about what you've done for us and what you've helped us be able to do in this community. So thank you very much. I'm now going to have Toya do the official deed here. Toya Haley was also an early adopter of the Greenlights idea, and I'd be curious how you got your arm twisted by Libby, what sequence you were in that process. But Toya was on the early board of directors here at Greenlights and has stayed in touch with us, now chairs our Community Leadership Council, and is a friend and a supporter. And so I'll introduce and turn it over to Ms. Toya Haley.
We're pleased to have Toya with us today. Toya has been around the Austin area for a number of years as an attorney, volunteer in the community, and as a philanthropist. One question though, what were you doing 40 years ago?
I was only 12.
Okay.
And I tell people now I'm forever 21, but I don't shop.
Very good. Okay, think back to where you were 40 years ago, right? Gold was $121 an ounce. Willie Nelson was just making his mark in the music scene. The Dallas Cowboys had drafted Ed Too Tall Jones and Danny White. Right? These bring back memories. All of those things we just mentioned have flourished over the years. And I think you're probably the perfect person to tell us how Libby and the organizations that she has touched has flourished over those past 4 decades.
Thank you, George. Good afternoon. As George mentioned and as Matt mentioned, I have a long history with Libby, so it's a special honor for me to be here today to celebrate all of her accomplishments and the gifts that she's given to the Austin community. I met Libby as a member of the Junior League of Austin. I was an officer serving on the board of the Junior League, and Libby, as our past president, was serving as our advisor. It's called Sustaining Advisor. So she would be at every meeting with us, providing us with wisdom, advice, and counsel on how not only to lead the organization, but how to be effective, gracious, thoughtful, and smart community servants, community stewards, and community volunteers. When I think about Libby, the words that come to mind are, smart, generous, thoughtful, tenacious, strategic, and kind. She does everything with kindness, and that was something that we all wanted to model, even in our interactions with each other. After Libby completed her year as our advisor, then she went on and collaborated and identified other women who cared about the community, many of whom also had the same passion as Junior League members. They were former Junior League members, to found Greenlights in 2001. And as Matt mentioned, Greenlights has grown from a small organization with a huge vision to a small organization with an even greater vision to do wonderful things in the community for the past 13 years and really supporting nonprofit organizations and helping them be stronger and more sustainable and able to focus all of their abilities on providing services and programs and not worrying about business practices because they've got those down. It was because of Libby that we have Greenlights. In addition to her role with Greenlights and her continuing sponsorship and stewardship of Greenlights and its mission, Libby also served on the board of the Austin Community Foundation and the St. David's Foundation. Her most recent passion has resulted in a new organization where she was the founding chair of a Legacy of Giving, and it's an educational program that focuses on philanthropy for students in K through 12. They have a program that's fully integrated with the AISD curriculum, so children of all ages learn about the value, the importance, and the power of philanthropy, and how each of them can make a difference in the community through all of their gifts, an idea, the ability to collaborate, the ability to make something, identify a need, address the need. These are all wonderful things that our children in Austin are learning thanks to Libby and her leadership. One of the things that I admire the most about Libby, besides her passion and enthusiasm about the community, is that she cares about the people that she's working with. She always makes a point to reach out to the other volunteers or people who want to learn from her, and she encourages them. She brings us along with her. And so it's a special honor for me to celebrate this award with her today because I was one of those people that she reached out to, and it's been an enriching thing in my life to learn from Libby, volunteer side by side with Libby, and to grow together with her in my ability to be a capable volunteer, steward, and philanthropist in the Austin community. So thank you, Libby, and congratulations on being recognized for Good Legend for 2013.
For the next portion, I'll ask George Wagner and Steve Barkley to join us up here. A little slow, excuse me.
Hit it with your stick.
And the first presentation we have will be for Amy and Evelyn. Please come forward. Super and each.
Thank you so much for nominating.
Okay, Libby, your turn to come up. And if you'll stand between George and Toya. For her, we have $100 Target gift card. And a soup bag.
Happy shopping.
This is our Book of Good Deeds, which has a picture of Libby and some other information, and your picture is in there as well.
Keep safe.
And then you can put those on the table right behind you. The next one is the bromeliad, which is a living token for remembering this day.
Congratulations.
And that is our presentation check. $1,000 to Greenlights.
We need to have Matt here.
Yes, we need that.
We'll have some more. And The last one is the negotiable check, that equal $1,000 payable to Greenlights.
Great.
Our part is done. Libby, it's over to you.
Oh, thank you all very much. This is humbling to say the very, very least. I'm just, as a volunteer, I have been so blessed. First of all, I learned about blind from my parents, and they were always very active in the community. And so I feel very grateful for them and Penny, because philanthropy and being part of the community has obviously made my life very rich, good, and full. And I just turned 70, so I've been around for 70 decades. When you said decades, I thought, but sometimes you're just around a lot and you get to do a lot. But the things that I've always enjoyed, startups and starting things and new ideas. And this community, Austin, is a dynamic community, and the ideas that come forth from people are just really inspiring. And so it is fun to be part of that and the creativity of that. And I was just one of the many, many people who the idea whose time had come, which was Greenlights, and to be able to provide real management, serious management, professional level management for the just growing and still growing, flourishing nonprofit community here. This is Austin is unique, I think, in that people can come here, they can have a wonderful idea, they see something that needs to be done, and they can just do it. That spirit is here, and it's been a blessing for us when I moved here with my husband 35, 40 years ago, to be embraced by the community, because that's what I get more out of what I do than I give out, obviously. It is also about all the people you meet and the people that your life is just so blessed. I mean, people like Toya and Matt and my wonderful friend Jerry Tucker, who's here from A Legacy of Giving, and all the wonderful team at Greenlights. It is a team process. I'm just one that, it was an idea, as I said, Greenlights, whose time had come. There were many people who felt that was a need here in this community, and to be able to grab people and say, I guess that's what I'm good at, grabbing people and making things. But, and that's it. You just can tell people an idea and they'll go, oh, that sounds like fun, I'll join you. So it has been an amazing ride for me, and my life is so blessed, and I am so honored to have received this, and I commend you for this amazing idea. This is a wonderful way to honor people in the community in doing that, you really do embrace philanthropy and spread the word and make other people feel like, oh, I'd like to do that too. So I think that's really important, and I'm just very, very honored. I'm not very good at these things and embarrassed, but I'm so grateful, and I'm so grateful for the award that you've given Greenlights. That will help a lot. This is an amazing organization. I'm so proud of the whole team who has just grown this thing. It started as a small idea, and now it is a major enterprise, and it's really quite astounding. And we were so fortunate to attract Matt. And I think people who work in the nonprofit community have that special something in their heart that makes them unique and wonderful to be around. Thank you.
Now, you know that accepting this award comes with a commitment for another 40 years. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. Thank you for coming. We certainly have had a wonderful time with Libby and finding out all that she's done over the past years and years and years of giving back to Austin. Those are the kinds of folks that we are looking